Well, I really like the holidays. If you don't know this about me, I get very excited about the holidays, probably because my birthday gets thrown in there too. So this is a big time of year for me. So as soon as it's after Thanksgiving, I'm pulling out the Christmas movies and the songs, and my radio is always on the Christmas carols. And maybe some of that is nauseating to some of you, but I enjoy it a lot. So Merry Christmas to me. So I've been listening to a lot of songs and watching a lot of movies, and the interesting thing is, you'll notice so many songs and so many stories around Christmas time are about journeys. So think about There's No Place Like Home for the Holidays. That's a journeying song, and I'll Be Home for Christmas, again about a journey. Even Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Isle of Misfit Toys, that's a journey story. And when you think about it, Christmas is full of all kinds of journeys. La historia de Navidad está llena de viajes. So Mary and Joseph. If we think about where we are in the story of Advent right now, let's think about where Mary and Joseph are. They were forced to take a journey. They were forced by the oppressive society that wanted them to register so that they could pull up people at a moment's notice for an army, or to tax people, or to do any kind of thing that an empire needs to do to sustain itself. So Mary and Joseph were on their way to Bethlehem to be registered. They were forced to take this journey, and it's a distance of 80 to 100 miles. That's like here to Santa Barbara on foot. It's a pretty long journey. Now, Mary and Joseph probably traveled a similar journey, a little bit shorter, maybe 60 to 80 miles every year, because they would take a pilgrimage to Jerusalem to give offerings at the temple. If you read about later stories of when Jesus was a boy, you hear of them coming to Jerusalem on this journey with a group of their community. So taking this journey isn't that unusual to them. So they take this journey, this pilgrimage, to celebrate Yahweh, their Creator. And it's a spiritual pilgrimage. So it's a time when you're trying to get right with God. You're taking this trip and you try to prepare things for a new life, a new year, after you've gone to the temple. You correct all of your wrongdoings, and you ask forgiveness, and you pay off your debts. You do as much as possible to get right with God when you're taking this pilgrimage. And as you're walking, you're praying, you're meditating, and you're talking to God as you're walking. If any of you have ever taken a long walk or gone on a run, you know how you can kind of get in your head. And you just start thinking about what's going on in your life. And there are people who do walking meditation as a spiritual practice. Because there's something about walking in rhythm and your heartbeat and clearing your mind to connect with God. So I like to think that maybe Mary and Joseph were doing that on this walk, connecting to their spiritual pilgrimage to make this journey a little less scary. Because certainly it would be a scary pilgrimage for them. Living in a time of fear and oppression, expecting a baby, this was not when they would want to be making a pilgrimage. It was not a convenient time for them. But it was a time to think. You know, people have epiphanies on the road. Think about Paul. He had an epiphany on the road. Or the Good Samaritan, which is a key Christian story. That happened on the road. The road is the time between where we've been and where we're going to be. So things happen in this liminal space between what's been and where we're headed. This is a really rich place. So it was not the most convenient time for them to travel across the country, but it was a journey that they were called to take. They were no longer the people that they had been. Something special was about to happen in their small family. Love was growing. But it was also this time of fear and anxiety. What would life be like for these new parents? What did the future hold when Christ was about to be born? Think also about the shepherds. Right about now, they'd be up on the hill. But they were a nomadic people. Journeying was probably pretty typical for them. But soon, with the word of angels, they'll be journeying towards something. There's a sense of anticipation. The shepherds on the hill, they're poor. They have their sheep and not much else. And they're waiting. Living lives where they know real oppression, political oppression and economic oppression, but there's promise of one who is going to come. The promise is told in Isaiah, and we hear Isaiah a lot this time of year. With righteousness he shall judge the poor, and decide with equity for the meek of the earth. He shall strike the earth with the rod of his mouth. The wolf shall lie down with the lamb, the leopard shall lie down with the kid, the calf, and the lion, and the fatling together, and the little child shall lead them. You've heard these words before. They will not hurt or destroy on all my holy mountain, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of the sovereign as the waters cover the sea. This is the promise that the shepherds are waiting desperately for. The shepherds really want to see that future. So when the star does appear and the angels speak to them, they hurry to Bethlehem to behold a small baby who could turn the world on its head. And then there are the Magi, which we'll talk more about in later weeks, but they're journeying towards a star. They don't even have a clear picture of what they're headed towards. There's just something driving them towards that star. And then John the Baptist, who we read about today, like the shepherds, he was kind of like a traveling nomad. He lived out in the wilderness. And when we hear the word wilderness, we're supposed to think of the wilderness journey of the Israelites. The long journey from slavery into freedom, through the wilderness. So, again, John believes in the coming of this new age spoken of in Isaiah, this promise that the shepherds also believe. And his journey as the baptizer is to prepare the way for the coming of Christ. He's in this journey with us, this Advent journey. The journey is rooted in a kind of striving. Today, our social justice focus is on immigrant rights. Many of you in this room traveled here from another part of the world. Some of you were forced to travel here for political, economic, or social reasons. Others chose to come to the United States to work towards a more hopeful future. Many came like the shepherds, looking to build a new community of justice and peace. Others, like the Magi, uncertain of what the future holds, but trusting in God. The Advent story is an immigrant's story. El Adviento es una historia de inmigrantes. Advent is a time of journeying. Some of us may be traveling on a physical journey. Many of you may soon be going to visit family and friends. But we're also on an emotional and spiritual journey. We may be striving to answer the question, how do we make things better in the new year? Or we may be experiencing a journey of grief. Like Mary and Joseph, maybe this isn't a convenient time for you to be decking the halls and singing Christmas carols. But the journey of Advent comes each year. It's that built-in time of the year when we're called to take a journey with the expected mother, and with the shepherd on the hill, and with the Magi, and with John the Baptist. We wait for the approach of something new. We're striving towards a distant star. That is our hope in Jesus, and our hope in ourselves and the world. And on Christmas, when that star does appear, we will see it as the promise of God's love for us. As John puts it, what has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. We are each on a journey. Maybe like Mary and Joseph, you are on a journey to make a better life for you and your family. Maybe like the shepherds, you are traveling towards a star that promises the beginning of a new world of peace and justice. Or like the Magi, you journey towards an unknown future, but you're trusting in God to guide you. Each of these journeys are rooted in the same thing, the thing that sets that star ablaze in the sky: love. When we strive to make a better future for our children, we show our love for them and for the future generations. When we work for justice and peace, we show our love for ourselves and for our neighbors throughout the world. And when we move forward without knowing where we're going. We show our trust in and love for God. It is that love that draws us forward on our Advent journey. Cada uno de nosotros está en un viaje arraigado en el amor de los demás y de Dios. We're on an Advent journey. So I ask you to consider for yourself, what is it that you need to be doing in these next few weeks as we approach the shining star? Are there people in your lives that you need to offer forgiveness? Do you need to offer yourself forgiveness? Are there ways in which you need to show love more fully for others and for yourself? Are there things that you're scared about that you need to let go and let God take care of? It's a time of anticipation. It's a time of excitement. It's a time for getting prepared. Prepare yourself for the coming of Christ. Amen.